difficult act.
Encontrando vida en el camino, melodías que no hemos tocado, y yo no quiero descansar. Resuena por la pared, creando una canción. No quiero perder el ritmo, y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos, y más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, y más seremos miles, crecemos en número, en solo un trueno de horizontes, seremos miles, más allá, a través de la gran oscuridad, hasta que me convierta en rayos, más allá.
Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want, baby. Can you give me what I need? Just give me what I want. Just give me what I want. Give me what I'm looking for.
How you doing, Ash Crypto?
get thrown around, but we keep going on believing, and on till we're all cried out, 'cause we don't feel like throwing it all away. We don't feel like it.
Hey, Priest, how you doing, dude?
Good morning. Well, good afternoon, actually. Good afternoon. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just having a coffee, setting up and everything. I just realised you can't actually see the damn chat box on the stream because of everything. So I'm just trying to organise at the moment, but we are live.
No problem, dude. No problem. I understand. I didn't see the AMA go live yet, so...
No, I think that's going to be happening in about an hour. But you did mention to me something about
God, dude, I don't get it. So,
Yeah.
like in the talk forum post, it said it would be today at 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 1 p.m. my time, which is Eastern time. So that's why I'm prepared. And then if you go to the Harmony Protocol Twitter at Harmony Protocol, it shows there's something at 2 p.m. today. So I'm trying to figure out where my brain broke, or why there's this level of miscommunication when we're having a conversation with the community submitted questions.
Are we really surprised at this point?
Of fucking course not. Fucking course not. However, these are the kind of things that, like, you need to have completely nailed down when you're being accused of not doing these kind of things properly, right? Like, you have to put more focus in the things you're being properly accused of doing poorly, right? Like, you've got to at least be showing that you're trying harder, but like, this is different. And maybe they're just late, right? Like, it's only 1:07. Like, maybe they'll be 15 minutes late. So, I'm pretty reasonable, right? Like, although, I'm that kind of boss that when you're going to be late, if you just shoot me a text and you say, hey, I'm going to be late, I don't really care how late you are. Thanks for letting me know. But like, when you're late and you don't let me know, I'm just like, yo, you can send me a fucking text message. Like, I'm not an unreasonable person. Like, what the fuck? So, I don't know. Maybe that's just my expectations.
No, it's absolutely true. I'm exactly the same. If you're going to be late, tell me you're going to be late. It's not a problem. But if you're late and you don't tell me, it's like, come on. It's just rude. But
It's just like professionalism.
It is. It's just professional courtesy. Absolutely, it is. The only tweet that I see regarding the Harmony Bridge recovery roadmap and adoption today at 8 p.m. my time, so it's in an hour, 55 minutes. That's the only one that I see, and that would be an hour later than scheduled, because it should be starting now.
According to the post that Globey made in the Harmony Talk forum, because I literally went and checked there this morning because I was like, wait, I want to check and see how my post was doing, and I wanted to check and make sure my times were right because, like, I've got the baby, and I'm trying to make sure the baby is asleep during the right time so that I can have my undivided attention on something that I believe is super important. So, I'm a little frustrated on that front.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
Life happens.
It does. I've set a reminder for it, and I am ready to rock with it. I've already tested the audio stream in a space just to make sure the audio works and everything is good. So as long as BlueStacks doesn't crash on me, we should be good. But it's all up to date. Everything is good. Nothing is pending. Windows updates are not sitting there looming in the background.
Wonderful.
Everything is good for now. Famous last words, right?
So tomorrow's podcast.
Yeah,
I would like to try to get Gas on from Egoverse. He is the general manager of Egoverse, and he's the one who sent me the video I sent you on Monday morning. And I think it'd be really interesting to have somebody with his background come in and talk about that situation, because he has a similar background to mine. Not exactly word, one-to-one, but it would be interesting to have, a conversation about that in a semi-enlightened way. So I don't know if you have any other guests, but I think Gas would be really fun. I know I talked about it on Monday. I was trying to hammer
No,
home?
no, not at all. I think actually we are fully booked until a week on Wednesday. I think that's what's taken. So the next debate.
Who do we have tomorrow?
So I need to get everything sorted out. The website. I've spoken to the web developer today, and he's been absolutely snowed under with work. But he is dedicating his time to our site today, so that should hopefully be done ASAP. So the schedule will be on there. So I'm going to have to look through my list, which I don't have access to right this second. So I will let you know.
No,
later.
that's cool. I just remember. So I told him that I would try to, because I mentioned it on Monday, and I would try to find time for that. We don't have to do like a 3-hour segment or a 2-hour segment on it. We could try to do something smaller for sure. Because I'm sure he has to work too, because it's a work day. But I just think for the conversations we've been having about like the ramifications of macroeconomic stuff, it's a really poignant topic, and the more we put it off, the less prep we can give our listeners, essentially.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. But there's absolutely no reason that we can't stay live for a bit longer. There's no reason that we can't, go into overtime or whatever. I mean, assuming that you're free to be able to do so. I know I am. So yeah, no issues there.
Yeah. So gas. Well, I'll message you and we'll see if you want to do tomorrow. We can figure it out. And we'll go from there, because I know he's listening. So. I think
absolutely.
We'll make sure he's good.
Well, I will double check the schedule. I'll make sure everything's okay. I will let you know full details as soon as I can. It'll probably be some point after this stream, so in a few hours' time.
You know what I'll do? I'll have him and you get in touch with each other, because you guys are on a similar side of the world than I am. So making me the intermediary probably is actually like not time effective. You know what I mean? Like, he's in the Middle East and you're in Europe, so Mediterranean type area. So you guys will be able to talk to each other earlier than I would even, you know what I mean? So I think that'd be probably better. But outside of that, dude, what did you do yesterday after the podcast? How'd the rest of your day go?
Not too bad. I was just kind of looking through some things, sorting out a couple of guests for the next week, essentially, of shows. And then I was having a look at some of the things that I'm working on, and just kind of really chilling out a little bit. And then I went on EVE Online because,
dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Just chilled out a bit. What about yourself?
What did we do after the podcast yesterday? Baby's teething, so we had a lot of try to have her chew on some more, suck on like cold things to try to make her mouth feel a little bit better.
Oh, bless.
It's just tough when you try not to give the baby drugs when they don't necessarily need them, right? So like, you're trying to balance, like, is my baby in pain, or is she just be a pain in the ass right now? So
no, there was a wonderful one that I used years ago. I've forgotten the damn name of it, but it's basically this kind of yellow antiseptic, and it just numbs anything. I think it's probably similar to like Novocaine, but it's like really innocuous, and it's designed for babies. I've forgotten the name for it, but it's but yeah, cold things. I mean, just as effective, because it's still going to numb the area, right?
Yeah, it's we're trying not to use too many medicines if we don't need to. Not that we don't believe in vaccines. Our daughter's completely vaccinated. Just be completely clear on that kind of stuff. Like, no, we're just not trying to like over medicate, right? Like, because we don't have the ability to communicate effectively and be like, hey, how bad does it hurt? It's just like, your face is really red on one side of your face, and you weren't laying on your face. Why is your face really red? Shit. But outside of that, man, I had a good conversation with my wife. We had, we made some dinner, and then I went to go play Rocket Monsters, and I had promised one of my real life friends that I'd play Rocket League with him. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I said people last week, like, find time to talk to people you haven't talked to in a while, and like, reach out to see how they were doing. I followed my own advice, and I got to play Rocket League with my buddies, who's way better at Rocket League than I am. And, when you don't get to hang out with people you've been hanging out with for like tens of years, and you get only a few opportunities, like, prioritization of your time becomes difficult.
Well, like I mentioned on the other show, my Steam account is literally old enough to drink. It's very old, and I've my about 3/4 of my friends list haven't been on for years. So a lot of the people that I've met in games have gone on and done different things with their lives, or maybe got different Steam accounts, or it's very interesting to see the history. I was looking through it the other day, and it's like, oh, remember that dude? Oh, remember that, reminiscing,
I do. So a lot of the people who I ended up being in that gaming organization with, called Union of Reach, back in Halo 3, we ended up like doing different things. Like I think I even didn't have an Xbox or a PC and play any games while I was working in banking for like 4 years. And like went like no contact with any of them, right? Like, and then eventually I got my stuff back and decided I wasn't going to not do the things that made me happy just because of a girlfriend. And sure enough, I was actually able to randomly keep finding those people through like just random Twitch streams and, just look at the username. You're like, hey, are you this person? And they're like, why are you asking this really specific question? Holy shit, it's, you know what I mean? Like,
I love that.
It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun when you can revisit that and you get those people. There was actually a person I played Halo with that was like the person I played the most hours with. And he like didn't have a PC, didn't have an Xbox or anything. And I think it was over 10 years since we had talked. And then like he randomly showed up in our Discord one day and I was like, holy fuck, what the? My wife is just like, what do you mean? Why are you cursing like that? I'm like, well, you don't even know who this person is. We've never talked about this because like he didn't exist in my life for the time we've been together. And that's a long time, but I really like this person. And, then she was able to meet his wife and then they have a kid too. So it's just like, the little gamer families are growing and, maybe our kids will be elite gamers in the future.
You never know. I don't know how much VR is going to take off. It seems to have died off a little bit. But I've got my VR headset, but one of my kittens recently was up on my desk and dropped one of the controllers on the floor and it broke. So I need to get new controllers, but I might just get the Quest 2 at some point. But VR for me seems to be the way forward as the tech gets better anyway. So we'll see how that goes. But have you got a VR headset?
I do not. And the reason I don't have a VR headset is because I don't have a large enough space to play properly. My wife and I live in a house that's perfect for 2 people. But like as we gave up my office for the nursery, like I'd have to play in a living room where there's like, coffee table and the playpen for the baby, etc. So like it's just not in the cards right there. And I also only have a 1080 Ti, which I know is possible to play in VR, but I am a asshole and I love to have the best things. So when I like upgrade my PC, I'll be upgrading with my VR into VR. But like I'm gonna try to hold out for the 40 series coming out in the fall for upgrading on my PC.
Sorry, I'm just trying to sort out the chat box. I'm not ignoring you.
No, you're good. But like a lot of my friends have the VR stuff and like Phasmophobia, which people have asked me to play and they can go fuck themselves. There's no way in hell that's happening. Not interested. No, fuck that. I think VR is like, but I've heard Alex is the best game for it. Like it's just perfect in a way. But like, I don't know. I don't want to get a VR headset that has anything to do with anything Facebook because I don't trust anything that they do ever. So like, I'm going to have to get whatever the Steam one is probably. Or like, I don't know, HTC makes like shitty ass phones. So like, I don't know if they actually make good.
The HTC Vive is easily one of the best VR headsets.
And that's what I've heard. Yeah. And that's what I've heard. And, but like when you hear that and you see it written on the internet, it's not as good as knowing people who have used the technology, right? And like my friends haven't committed to buying that one or the Index from Valve. They've all gone like the Oculus route from... the Oculus, the Facebook one. But like, they like it. So, I don't know. I love it. I want it to be amazing, but I want it to be like what my dream of it is, not what it currently is, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. I mean, the Oculus is good, but the problem is I thought I was going to lose all of my games at one point because I bought a load of games. for the account, and then they bound it to the Facebook account. I don't use Facebook. I don't want to use Facebook, but they're forcing me to use Facebook so I can use my Oculus, and it really pissed me off. So when I get the opportunity to, I will be buying the Steam version because I've got everything over on Steam. I like using Steam. It doesn't tie me into ads and bullshit like that. So I'm quite happy to stick with that. So no, I'm kind of with you on that, man. And that's the only downside for the Oculus, is that it ties you into Facebook or Meta, which is, Meta, let's face it, has been a complete failure. Nobody wants to be a part of that. And I would imagine there's probably going to be a cult following for it, but I don't imagine it being very big at all. But I've always been interested in VR and AR. I think it has a lot of applications, especially with the Microsoft HoloLens that was released. And they're on the HoloLens 2 now. But it's mainly for business application corporations and things like that, for design and communications and things like that. But it's a very powerful platform. I'd love to get my hands on one of those, but they're very expensive.
Oh, yeah. And the one cool thing is my wife is very cool with supporting my hobbies. She'll be cool with me getting a VR headset as long as we'll let the baby, not the baby when she's a baby, but you know what I mean? As the kid grows up, she'll be able to utilize the technology as it's age appropriate, right? Because the whole point of being into this kind of stuff is that you have the opportunity to teach the future generation how these things work so they can understand it in a more innate way to make it better for when they have kids, right? I don't know. I don't know. I think it'd be cool just to have a fun hobby like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It is expensive as shit.
It is very expensive, and there will be more kind of user-friendly, cost-effective ways later on as the technology develops. That's the way it always goes. But I think, we'll end up heading back potentially to similar devices, like AR devices similar to the Google Glass. I think we will end up seeing some of those. I think we'll see some of those coming back. The issue with the Google Glass for the most part was a lot of privacy issues. So I think we'll see that, because a lot of perverts were going to swimming pool changing rooms with the Google Glass on and things like that, and making recordings. And stuff like that. So, people are going to use things for nefarious purposes. We were talking about this with Tornado Cash, and things like that. People will always find a way to misuse technology for one reason or another. But it's again with smartphones in Tokyo. They had a massive, epidemic with people going around trying to take upskirt photographs and things like that. So, that people will always find a way to abuse technology. But it's one of those things, I guess. But we're living in a world now where everybody has a camera. Everybody's going to film you. Everybody's going to take pictures, and it's just one of those things that we potentially just have to get used to. It is what it is, I guess. Just to let everybody know, we are, of course, live. You're not watching a pre-recording. This is a live stream. We are going to be streaming the Harmony 1 AMA, which is the Harmony Bridge Recovery Roadmap and Adoption AMA with Stephen Stee. As far as I'm aware, it will be Stephen himself answering questions that have been put forward by the community in Reddit and the Harmony One forums. It's going to be very interesting to see how they answer those, whether they're going to be answering them naturally, or whether they've got a set of pre-written questions, and it'll be interesting. I think what I might do is potentially write down some of these questions as they're read out, and then I'll cross-reference that with Reddit and the forums to see how many of those they asked themselves and how many of them they actually picked, and whether or not they actually suggest the user's name that they're reading it from and things like that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. And the reason I'm talking like that is because I do kind of get the sense that they're going to do as much as they possibly can to protect themselves, so that it isn't a complete slag fest, where people are just going nuts. And the thing is it's a very clever place that they can reach a lot of people on Twitter. You touched on that the other day, Priest. It's a very good way for them to connect with most of their users. But yes, at the same time, it is also a very good way for them to control how it operates. It's a very good way for them to control the narrative rather than using a platform such as ours. And I don't know, whether they'll record it and things like that. It'll be very interesting. Very interesting. Either way, the recording will be available on the CryptoLam YouTube channel anyway. So you can't post links in Twitch chat, unfortunately, 35 Genre. That is to try and negate the possibility of bots and scammers and things like that. So if you try to post links, they will automatically just be starred out. So, it's to stop bad stuff from happening. So a lot going on. How do you think the AMA is going to go? Like, what are your preconceived notions at the moment, and what are your expectations at the moment? It'd be interesting to see how those potentially maybe change, or maybe they're met.
So, how do I want to phrase this?
Honestly,
my expectations. No. Being honest is sometimes making sure that when you say things, you actually say what you mean, and not things that make you feel good to say them. So that's just my. It's like a process I have to go through. Otherwise, I'll say some mean shit, and that's not really fair to people. My expectation is that there's going to be some questions that will be picked from the posts in the forums, right? But there's a lot of questions there. There's multiple from multiple people, so I don't think there's going to be some picked from everyone. I think what they'll try to do is they'll try to pick one or two from all of the highest upvoted ones, right? Because there's like JCR's got like 23 reactions. There's a couple other ones that are in the tens. Mine's only got like 11 or so. So, I think I'm in the list for maybe some reactions on mine, hopefully. But my expectation is that they're going to pick some some easy ones, right? And then they'll pick one difficult one that's not actually difficult. It'll just be one that like seems difficult because they'll have to make like a multi-step answer to make it, tie back into the community in some way. And then at the end, they'll be like, oh, well, we only have an hour because we have so many things we need to do. And then it'll end at like 3:00. 3:05 maybe, right? Like they'll push it like 10 minutes. But like I was in the Twitter space last week with Lee, and Lee was like, yeah, we got to wrap this shit up. And like, he didn't say that, but Lee was like not talking. And then the people who were in charge were like, yeah, we need to go. It's time. We got to be done now. It's been an hour. Yeah. It's just like, what? This is not the way the community handles these things. And it's just like, there's a separation there. So my expectation is we're going to get a lot of bullshit and a lot of, well, we're working on it. And like I said, a couple softballs so it seems like they're actually working on some things so they can actually communicate some tangible results. But those tangible results would have been like good, like within days 1 through fucking 5, not day 50, whatever we are at right now. So like, I believe they're going to do everything in their power to make it seem as if they can control the narrative of look at all these things that we're doing. There's a reason why my question was specifically about things that are not hack related, but are business related that had not been taken care of, because those are the kind of things that like, if they're asked, when they're asked, they need to be addressed, right? Like someone's going to have to answer for those questions, and answer for those things. And like, if they don't answer them now, they will eventually have to, right? Like I'm not dropping it, just to be clear. Like people not getting paid is not acceptable to me. So like, I don't expect them to answer anything. I expect them to do a bunch of fucking bullshit dance around, but like, maybe not, right? Like maybe not. But I don't think that there's anything that they can do now this late that will save them. I think it's too late.
I think you're right.
I hate that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with it. I mean, Steven kind of gives the impression in his videos that he wants to be more communicative. I know what I meant. And, make an effort more with the community and to obviously, engage the best he can. Thanks for all the retweets, everybody. You're legends. So, I think that he's really going to do his best in that respect. I hope so, because that's what he said. And if you're not going to, why are you saying that you're going to? It's like, if you're going to say you're going to do something, do it, right? And it's like one rule that I have in my house. It's a couple of rules I don't have in my house. I cannot stand lying. I hate lying, so never lie. Number 2 is if you're going to promise to do something, do it. Otherwise, don't promise to do it. Because you just let so many people down. There's just so many problems with making promises you can't keep. And it's like that applies to children and adults, I think. Gas Ham 85 says, depends on how the questions are going to be asked and answered. Yeah, absolutely. /Dot says, I expect nothing to be accomplished by this AMA. At the moment, my expectations are with you. Nighthawk asks, $100 giveaway today. No, that is tomorrow. The $100 giveaway is tomorrow. And that's just reminded me who the show's with. The show is with the guest we had on Friday.
Freaky.
Yes. That is who we have. They are. We need to get some material out on that after this live stream. I will do that, but that is tomorrow.
Protocol.
That's correct.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, dude. You know what? Let's have him talk about the same shit too. Let's put him in a situation he's not prepared for. I'll send him the fucking video tonight. Make sure he's watching and prepared, and we'll just have him on early, and then we'll do the giveaway afterwards. And maybe, since Gas works with Egoverse, maybe we can get E to be really awesome and give us a whitelist for something that they're going to do or something.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Why not?
I'll make that happen.
The way I was going to do the $100 giveaway is because I was going to do $50 and 2 prizes of $25 rather than just one lump sum of $100. Give 3 people a chance to win rather than just one. So that's what I was going to do there. But when the website goes live, which is coming, I know I keep saying that, but it is coming. We're going to have the option to donate. So if people can donate a couple of bucks, $5, whatever, so that we can, put up more prizes like that in the future for you lovely people. So if you think of it as a pool that you're paying into or buying a lottery ticket, but it's not that because that would be illegal for me to do. It's just a giveaway. So ultimately, I think it's illegal anyway. I'm not 100% sure, but whatever. It's all coming together nicely. The The schedule and everything is tightened up. Like I said, it's the schedule currently is full until a week on Wednesday. So the next show that we have free is next Friday. That's the one we don't have booked yet. But I was actually reaching out to Ali Illustrated to see if she wanted to come on and do that one, but I haven't had a reply yet. So we'll see what happens there, which is pretty cool. But when that schedule goes live on the website, you will all be able to see who we have and when, and I will put details of any giveaways in those as well, so everybody knows where they stand on that. I'm not going to be able to do a giveaway every single show. I think that's unreasonable at this point. But as we grow bigger, we can potentially do one every show. So it just depends.
I think that we don't require anyone to pay us, right? And I don't think so. I don't think that's a really good thing to do for our podcast. I think it's really awesome that we kind of let people do it for free. But I think we should kind of maybe hint to people hey, you should probably have something to give away to the audience if you're gonna just be here, right? The audience will be more engaged, right? I think the audience appreciates that more. I think the numbers will track with that. So and if they don't have something, we can work on it ourselves. But I think if we're gonna, bring people on, I think that we can try to share the love that way, right? I think that's the best way. Share the love, right?
Absolutely,
all of our bags are hurting. All of our bags are hurting, right? But we're trying to get people who are working on projects. So maybe we can help bring some eyes to some things. I know that a couple people listened to our stuff from coming from our, the DeFi Tower Discord, and they've won stuff, and it just kind of makes me happy when you see people that from places. And you're like, oh, you won, then you join those people, like the guys who won and joined the Cispunks and won Cispunks, right? I don't know, it just kind of makes me happy when we get to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's we're not going to be able to guarantee monetary prizes every single time. The only reason I say about the donate is, grab us a coffee or whatever. It just kind of helps us out a little bit, But I was
to make our website, right? That might be awesome. We'd really like to be able to do that. I think that's kind of what we're getting at with the donate, right? We're not trying to make money, bro. We're trying to. We're not website makers.
No, that's exactly right. It's literally it's literally just to like I said, get us a coffee. A tip is essentially what it is. Twitch is not, it's not a strange thing to tip a Twitch streamer. That's a very done thing, but that's basically it, so we're not asking people to pay for anything. It's not obligatory to pay for anything. You don't need to pay for a subscription or anything like that. It is going to be free, and it's free for guests to come on as well. We're never going to charge for that. So, it is a true community podcast, and that's the way we're going to keep it. But obviously, just that little donation can help go a long way. So rather than me buying a coffee, it depends. If somebody chucks in something nice, I will give that back to the community. Every time I have a whitelist spot to give away, I will give that back to the community. Every time I have an NFT to give away, I will give that back to the community, and so on. And that's how I want to operate. That's what I want to do. Share the love.
So I was in a Twitter space yesterday, and how would you feel about a Gotcha Girls game coming on to talk about their game?
That sounds good. I mean, we got a week on Friday available currently.
Week on Friday is actually Legoat, remember? That's the dude from San. I think he's from San.
Oh, well, in that case, we're fully booked until a week on Monday.
Yeah, a week from Monday, yeah. Because we have Flu next Monday, and then we've got somebody on Wednesday, and then next Friday is Legoat, because he's West Coast, so he's got to get up super early to be on our podcast. For him, right? Like, because he's music industry, 7 a.m. is really really early for him. So he'll be there on Friday. So who do we have the following Monday? Do you know? No, I don't think so. I think you just said that's where we're booked through. So we need somebody for that day.
Yeah, we need somebody for that day. That's what I meant.
All right. Cool. So I definitely might have changed my profile picture on Twitter to a Tokyo Gotcha Girl. Man, they are spicy. And like personally, like I'm gonna be honest, I'm not into the 2D art thing. Like I don't really care. Like I love boobs. Boobs great. I like real ones more than I like 2D drawings.
Right.
But I know there's an entire community of people who love that shit. Right. Like, and from the conversation I was listening to, I actually really like the dude who runs the project. Like the amount of thought that went into every aspect of like their tokenomics and everything. I'm going to talk to them privately to try to get them on the pod. I think they're great. I think that'll be a really, really good conversation, and it'll be, lively.
100%. No, it sounds good. I mean, it's like we're getting jam-packed shows every day, and it's only increasing. We're going to have a lot of really cool stuff for everybody watching. We're going to have some great AMAs. We're going to have some great projects. And, the best part about this is you guys are going to be getting free alpha. You're going to be getting potentially IDO spots. You're going to be potentially getting, early spots on, mints for NFTs and just so many things. So, just clicking that follow button is really all it takes to keep up to date. Or if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell, etc. I don't like saying that because it's kind of cringe, but it is true. If you want to stay up to date with the latest alpha, that's how you do it. And also follow myself, Priest, and Fizz on Twitter as well. The usernames are literally down below here. You've got probably Priest right there, Fizz over there, and me over there. Just hit those up on Twitter and stay up to date with the latest information. If you want to be able to join in with competition giveaways, you need to be able to use the chat. And the only way that you can use the chat is if you are following the stream, and that is to stop spammers and scammers and things like that. So it allows me to be able to moderate and so on.
So one of the things I kind of actually enjoy is my wife has started listening to the podcast randomly, not because I asked her to, but because she kind of asked me questions about things and I give her answers, and she's like, looks at me like as if I have three heads. And it's actually kind of exciting is my wife asked her, I have my wife proofread my stuff because I recognize through being a coach and having to like respond to parent emails that if I actually wrote what I want to say to people, they get really mad and they can't handle my directness generally. So like I have my wife proofread things so like, she can temper my anger, etc. Also, I have ADHD, so I write run-on sentences like it's my job.
Right, gotcha. Yeah.
But so I I sent my Harmony poster, and she my first draft, and she was like, I think you're being too nice. And I think it was the first time in my life that I have ever heard my wife react to any type of my reaction and say I'm being too nice. And I was just like, wait, what?
No, I
Hold on.
actually agree with that. I think when you're doing a podcast, and this is one thing I'm kind of guilty of, right? When I'm looking at some of the stuff on, Harmony, when there's been some of the things in the past, I've really tried to moderate how I speak, so that I don't, come across as being too aggressive towards something. But it's like, you know what? No, sod that. If people are going to follow me for my personality and they like what I do, then I need to be me. I need to be able to speak my mind. If I say something out of turn, I expect people like you, Priest, or people in the chat to turn around and say, whoa, Andy, no, you're wrong, and this is why, and have a constructive conversation. Or, if you're going to disagree or, have an argument with me on it, have an argument with me on it. That's the point. It's a discussion. If I get something wrong, tell me. But if I get it right, then, it opens the door, doesn't it? So, I think that's the way it should be. So in terms of being nice, I think it's also just a case of being honest. If you believe in a certain point of view, put that point of view across, and then we can discuss it. But I don't think we should necessarily moderate ourselves. I don't think so.
I don't think that I necessarily moderate myself as much as I try to actually give people the benefit of the doubt more often than not, because I've been in positions where I found myself in over my head through inaction of others, or accepting more responsibility than I should have because other people weren't doing what they were supposed to do, right? So like I can kind of empathize with those kind of things, and I try to recognize that, like, people have real life shit too sometimes, right? Like sometimes you have shit at work, and sometimes you have like shit in real life at the same time, and like it doesn't matter how good work is going if life is real shit too. So I that's why for 50 days I was very like, hey, there's a lot of things that can be done, but like, I think I did a really decent job of sowing the seeds that like, shit's fucky, yo. Like there's blood in the water. Like, and I mean, even yesterday I was asked in a space by Flu's like, Priest, you seem like a really doom and gloom. I'm like, I'm not doom and gloom, man. I just don't see the way forward. Like no one here is giving me actual ways to have hopium with them. Like they're talking about things that they think is true, and like these things are true, but none of them inspire hope in me. Because there's none of it. It answers the basic questions of being like, the leader that people are supposed to need, not supposed to be, but need to be for there to be success, right? Like if you look at failures, it's generally a failure of leadership. Always.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Again, when I mean, moderate myself, I find, I'm trying to be polite. I swear like a trooper, in real life, and take that as you want. I try not to do it so much on the stream because some people can be, find it a bit ugly, but that's who I am. I swear a lot when I speak, for one reason or another, and it's like, if I'm passionate about something, I'm going to talk about it and be passionate about it because that's the way it should be. But it should always be truthful, and at the same time, you're absolutely right. I think judgment should be reserved until you have all of the facts. Of course, there's no point being passionate about something only to find out later that you were completely wrong, because it just makes you look like an idiot. But
right, like, so we talked about all of these problems as the issues led up, because like our following's grown, so like more people listen to us, so they may not have understood that we've been like having these conversations since the original Harmony Roundtable conversation the day of the bridge hack, right? Like These are conversations that we've been having, and we've been going through these things. So like I don't think it's bad for us to continuously sometime or every once in a while, not continuously, but every once in a while go back and like frame our perspective through things, right? Like we talked about what the worst case scenario would be, and then we talked about like what potential things they could do to be doing good things and make good decisions and be working towards stuff. And like, do you believe that the things that we discussed have come true, or do you think they've worked towards the things we said they needed to do?
No, I think everything that we've spoken about has either started to come to fruition or has come to fruition. We've hit the nail on the head every single time. Everything that we've discussed. I mean, I think in the beginning I was probably more critical than you guys. I think I was a little bit too heavy. I think a lot of people were still kind of, no, wag me. Everything's gonna come to fruition. A lot of people are doing some great things, a lot of initiatives, and I there was a couple of times where I spoke out of turn, or at least I felt I spoke out of turn, but it turns out I was right. I think you did as well. I think there was a couple of things that you said in the past where it's like, no, this is all going to be a shit show, and it was a shit show, and it's like, but all of the same thing. It all centered around Steve. It all centered around Steve in the sense that, like, seriously, man, you need to listen to the community. You need to speak to projects. You need to actually get your feelers out for what is going on, you know, and all of that kind of stuff.
We gave the opportunity for growth, right? People can make mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes.
Absolutely.
Every person makes mistakes, right? But how do you account for your mistakes is you literally be accountable, right? You say, I made this mistake. This is what I did. These are the decisions that led to that. And this is what I'm doing to fix those things. And at any point in time, in any of the fucking conversations that we've had, and I'm trying not to curse as much as I normally do, I'm passionate, but like that's an important F word there. When have we ever seen any accountability?
We haven't.
We haven't.
No.
Right? We haven't. So I would challenge any person who has any hopium, okay? Any person who has that to ask themselves if their child made a mistake and then hid it from them for 50 fucking days, what would their reaction be? Because we don't know exactly what happened. We don't know who fucked up. We know they fucked up and they lost $100 million, which has tanked all of our investments.
I've just got an image now of you walking up to Stephen and just kind of getting down on one knee, looking him dead in the eye and saying, Stephen, I'm not angry, but I'm very disappointed.
It's very clear that the technical genius that it takes to do the planning of building a blockchain like he did with Harmony is there. I don't doubt that in any capacity, but I don't see the growth on a personal side to recognize his areas of opportunity and work towards them and recognize that transparency is the only way to earn back trust. And without earning back trust, there's no way to forgive. And if you don't have in-person interactions with people, you can't build trust with them. And you can't build trust with them without in-person interactions, then they have to use the tools in which you ask them to use. And then when you don't use those tools for 11 months yourself, then how does anyone have any ability to relate to you? How do you relate to your community in capacity? And more specifically, when you build something and you release a product, the product is no longer yours once it's out into the world. It is the community's product that at that point in time. And if you want your product to be successful, you need to support the product and the community's vision for the product, not the builder's vision for the product. You do not pigeonhole the community into your builder's vision, right? Like you have to take your vision and scope and you have to expand it to build in the things the community wants, because without your community, there is nothing. And this is one of the biggest and not the biggest, but one of the strongest communities throughout all of the blockchains. As we all inevitably reach out and talk to people from other chains, they just recognize how many awesome people there are from Harmony, right? Like when you have an amazing community and you fail to support that community and you fail to do the things necessary for that community, and I'm not talking about the bridge hack here. I'm talking about paying grants to people who did the milestones. I'm talking about paying validators for work that they did for their DAO to make the validator process easier on a proof of stake network, right? These are the things I'm talking about. When we don't do those support for the community, we have nothing, right? Like, but we're trying to take the community. What it seems like to me is that the builder just wants to do what the builder wants to do, and it doesn't matter what any of us do. And that is not a relationship in business that I am willing to be in, because that is not collaborative, that is not communicative, that is not a business that you want to have to do business with, right? But if that person didn't make any mistakes ever, and it was a extremely profitable business, would anyone give a shit? No. It would be the cost of doing business is like, you ain't gonna listen to you, not gonna talk to you, not gonna happen. But you're just gonna sit there and make money because it's gonna print. But that's not what the situation we're in, right? Like, that's not the situation we're in. That's the situation that person thinks we're in, but we're not. That person's just been failing repeatedly. So, like, if you're in business with somebody and they fail repeatedly over and over again, like, how do you forgive them? By being able to have access to their procedures, right? Like, they ask for help. They're like, hey, I'm failing. What do I do differently here, right? Like, and we're not getting that. And it just boggles my mind that somebody who could be so educated could not be able to have the ability to be self-reflective enough to have a reasonable context for the situation we're in.
No, I completely agree. And, eloquently put as always, Priest, you've got a way of explaining things so well. I think everybody can, understand but also empathize with the frustration of it all, man. It's like, it is so, like, I think it's more frustrating because it's just, we all know that there is better ways, and we all know those better ways on how to deal with situations like this. It is an ugly situation. It is a difficult situation, but there are better ways of dealing with it. I listen to a lot of Jordan Peterson, and I don't always agree with everything he says, but I don't think it's healthy to agree with everything somebody says. It's like Andrew Tate. I can't stand the guy, but at the same time, there is a couple of things that he says are common sense, but there's a couple of things he's just downright misogynistic. But at the same time, there's I think being able to pick certain things from some certain things is good sometimes, but. The point I'm making is, we when it comes to Harmony One, there are ways to deal with things. It's like I learned in the prison service, it's possible to be authoritarian without being a dick. You can turn around to people and say, right, this is what's going to happen. This is how we're going to fix the situation. This is how we're going to move forward. And if people turn around and say, well, look,
Wait,
I don't really
sorry.
like that.
I need to cut you off for a second. I'm sorry. What? The point you're making is so great right now. And I just want you to remember that you said we, right? You said we.
Right.
Have you heard the word we from?
Well, no,
Stephen
that's a thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's I. It's me.
It's I. It is me, right? Like, it is not, there's no, right? There is no I in team, right? But there's me. You're right. There is me. Sometimes you have to be selfish. You absolutely do.
Yeah, sometimes you do, but there's ways of doing it. This is what I'm saying. If I was the CEO of Harmony, apart from being incredibly stressed out right now, I would be facing the community, and having daily spaces with people to say, this is what we're doing, this is what we're working on. Do you guys agree with this direction or not? We can potentially do some voting on the DAOs. We can, there's so many things we can do and say, well, this is the plan that we have currently as a team in-house. Does anybody have any better ideas that we can explore and take a look at and really actually take the community's thoughts into consideration? Now, the thing is that some companies won't always jump down the community's throat like that, because sometimes some people will quite happily sit there and speak but don't have a clue. And you need to filter those things out, right? It's not insulting to say, well, look, you don't own a $1 billion company, you don't know how this shit works, so sit down, shut up. Sometimes you need to turn around and say, well, no, actually, sometimes it's common sense. You just need to listen to your clients, customers, investors, because they're the ones that are buying your product. And whilst you had the initial vision, these people have a direction that they want to see it go. And right now we have a hole of $100 million. Okay, that was not what was originally sold. This is a new problem.
It's actually more than that now.
Well, yeah, of course it is.
And that's the problem, right? Like it's like closer to 170.
Yeah. And it's a big issue, a very big issue. I think we should be starting in about 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. Also, Ali Illustrated messaged me whilst we're on air. I don't know if you're watching, Ali. Hello if you are. But she messaged me back to say that she is good for Wednesday the 24th. There is a potential for a double booking on that date, but I will sort it out. But she said that is the day that's good for her. So we have Ali Illustrated coming on. If you don't know who she is, go check out her Twitter. Very talented NFT artist. And just an awesome guest to have on this show. We had her on when we did the Women in Crypto segment. She was a great guest, wasn't she, Priest?
Yeah, man. I even shouted her out on Twitter. I was like, yo, Ali was awesome. Ali is one of our best guests. She's got a lot of different experiences than most of the other people we had on the Women in Crypto show. Yeah, so it was interesting to have like a different perspective than the other people, because most of the people we had on were like on the tech side or management side, and she's been on like the talent side, and I think that was a nice perspective to have.
Well, when I was a kid, my grandfather was not when I was a kid, but my grandfather was in the Royal Air Force, and he worked on the Avro Vulcan, which was the UK's nuclear deterrent back in the day. And he was an engineer. He fixed those things and painted them, and he was sprayer and fitter for the Royal Air Force at RAF Waddington back in the day. And I always had a fascination with planes. I always had a fascination with military planes specifically. I absolutely love them. There's not much I don't know about a lot of planes that are out there. I don't know too much about the F-35B and some of the other things that are out there. I know more about the older stuff, the Gen 4 and 3 and all that kind of shit. But a lot of the toys that I played with always had the USAF kind of logo on it and all that kind of stuff. And I had the big C-130 gunship and all the tanks come out of it and, all of these sort of things. So I had all of this stuff growing up as a kid. I absolutely loved aviation and military aviation. And then, when I was looking through her profile to see, to learn more about her and I seen USAF, I was like, oh, fanboy moment. So yeah, she's a very talented woman. She obviously, does a lot of art, sells her NFTs. Some of the stuff that she does is absolutely stunning. But she is also a veteran from the United States Air Force as well. So she's got a lot of very interesting stories to tell. Looking forward to having her on next week. So currently for me it's 7:51 in the PMs, which means in 9 minutes the Harmony thing should start. Harmony AMA thing, I call it a thing. So that should start in about 9 minutes. So for the viewers that are currently paying attention, I should probably open up the YouTube chat. The last couple of days I haven't done that, and I should probably do that so I'm not neglecting the YouTubes. But if you are watching over on YouTube, I am going to get the chat to pop out right now. So if you have anything that you want to say, please do. I will have that open and monitored on the screen for you all. So I don't forget about you. If you are messaging on me on Twitter, I should be able to see that as well. So if you're watching live on Twitter, on Periscope, then, please, reach out and let me know. And of course, I can see the Twitch chat as well. So if you have your questions or want to say anything, please do. This is a discussion for the Harmony One AMA. So if you are going... I feel like we need a theme song for that. But yeah, if you have something to say, you want to say something on this, please do. As the questions are being asked, I would like to see some reactions from people. Just kind of have some key points put across to people. If you're listening to it, you can listen to it here, of course, or you can go direct to, the space if you do so wish. But we're going to be doing some commentary on it here. I'm going to be listening for the most part. I'm going to reserve my opinion on certain things. But I won't. I know you won't. You're going to be in the space and asking those very much difficult questions. It's all going to be recorded on the YouTubes later on.
If they don't take live questions, I'm out leaving. Just to be clear, I'm not gonna not have the opportunity to talk. Like if I'm gonna talk, I'm gonna talk. I don't give a shit if Steven's not gonna listen to it. I'll talk at him from this, and we can send him clips of it.
Well, this is the thing. I hope I don't get in any trouble for obviously having this recorded and put on my YouTube. At the end of the day, it's a public space, it is what it is, and I'm not really sorry about it. If somebody is potentially wanting to go on there but doesn't knowing that it is potentially going to be recorded now, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. There's not enough people holding these people to account, in my opinion. And we're talking about serious large amounts of money, but we're also talking about people's lives. This is a very serious subject matter, in my opinion, and it needs to be done. So I'm not trying to be hostile towards the Harmony team, but so far they have failed to meet any or exceed expectations of any kind. They've met my expectations for the most part, unfortunately, and they're not good ones. Ultimately, it is what it is. We're going to see how it pans out. Some people have already said that they don't really, see anything productive coming from this space. They don't really see... I'm kind of with you on that. My expectation right now is this is going to be a complete nothing burger and nothing's really going to be said. A lot of words are going to be said, but nothing is going to be said, if that makes sense. So that's my opinion on that.
So Andy, let's speculate, right? We've got a couple minutes to speculate still. So if it's a big nothing burger, what's your advice to people on Harmony?
Well, I think if it's a big nothing burger, this AMA yields no results, and it appears that they're still not taking things seriously. I think, my opinion, at that point, it would be, right, stop fucking around, abandon ship. There are plenty of other places and communities that you can go to and be in a better position to enjoy crypto, because we're not here for all this doom and gloom. If you've lost money, I think potentially, keep your ear to the ground. If there is a recovery in something that you can get from it in the future, great. But then lower your expectations of that possibly happening. Lower your expectations of ever making money on this chain again. That is my opinion. I think it literally will be a case of, if we watch this space and it ends up being negative or neutral, or kind of, a lot of things are said without actually being said, with no clear direction in mind, then I think it's time to just be like, right, well, you've had your chance. Move the fuck on. And that's that. If you have a lot of money invested in Harmony, and I know some people do, and I mean large amounts of money, then it is potentially possible that you're not going to ever see that back. And, if you want to look out for potentially getting some of that back in the future, just keep your ear to the ground. But it's time to move on. It's time to either move on to a different chain or a different project or whatever it might be. But don't put all your eggs in one basket, But if you're here because you want the community to survive, you want the chain to survive, and you're really passionate about that, just manage your expectations. What about yourself?
Well, I opened a validator. It's on Findora. So if you're looking to go someplace else or diversify and mitigate risk, and you think that privacy tools could be really awesome with...
Space is going live now. Do you want to go and jump in there?
I'm about to. Be Better Validator. Check me out on Findora. If you don't know how to set it up, I'll pay Andy, and I'll do it live on the podcast, and we'll show everyone how to stake on Findora.
We do have a limited amount of time,
and we'll go from there. You guys are amazing. I'm going to go see if I can get into this Twitter space, if they're going to talk or not, and
most interacted with questions.
I will be muted and stay
from the forum, and then we'll be
okay. Do speak to you in a bit
with answers to as many as humanly possible. We wanted to, kind of reiterate up top that. One, thank you guys for asking so many really great questions, and questions that we're excited to provide as much information as we can for you guys. So we'll be diving in here to a couple of the highlighted questions within this space, and then we'll be following up later this week with more detailed responses to the ones on the forum. Try to give everybody who asked questions credit for posing those questions. I did kind of bring them in. So if I do not shout you guys out specifically, just roast me on Twitter. It will be fine. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hop into that Q&A portion. Steven, are you ready over there?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Really
awesome.
Be here today.
Yeah, thank you for joining us this morning, and we'll go ahead and get started. Taking a look at our Q&A questions, I think really one that we've all wanted to know, have thought a lot about, is the fact that the question posed by, this was probably Priest, and the question that he asked was, how now does Harmony regain a leadership role in Web3 following the events that have occurred with both Horizon and our grant and DAO funding situations? How do we restore confidence with partners, grantees, and community members?
Yeah, that's a great question to start. Obviously, the macro market, if not the global economy, and being in such a market, and with the bridge incident happened to us, we are still very committed long term. But how to think about the leadership as a platform in the space, and then for us to think about how our partners and grantees are doing is on the top of our mind. The key point here is we must go deep and do the full speed on the recovery plan, and then building back the bridge so that we can really work with other ecosystem as well as other projects, still driving the growth on Harmony, but also really helping many of the bridge incident victims as well as partners to understand what's the plan forward. As you guys know, we are full speed at it, not just within the team, but also with our community members. The broader question of now that both the market as well as our platform are affected, what is the road forward? Is also what I'll be working with the team to get the feedback from the community, how our roadmap as well as strategy makes sense for the rest of the year.
Awesome. Yeah, and to reiterate that, that's really taking a lot of the feedback, not just from the forum post that we put out today, but previous feedback and feedback going forward to sort of help in communicating that better. Would you say that that is correct?
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, that was probably Priest on the forum, just to make sure we get everybody's question credits out there. To kind of segue into the next one, dealing with the market downturn as well as issues that were more specific to Harmony. So our treasury issue, our Horizon Bridge incident, taking a look at all those kind of holistically, now that we've had some time to sort of unpack those. From a leadership perspective, how do you feel like your thoughts on how we go forward and how we go deep? How do we do that to really restore faith with the community?
I think communication and engagement are the key here. In particular, the last many months since the beginning of the year, I think we finally have been re-engaging many of the community and validators as well as our partners in events. What have become lacking is the quiet change even in the space, but for sure even our strategy. That we just haven't done a lot of unpacking, both when we roll out new campaigns as well as helping the community understand what's next with us. Now that the market has changed, now that our bridge have new strategy, it's even more important so that it's not just going to be an announcement, this is a new thing, this is the new direction, but more for the community to understand that you guys are a big part of it. When we have the both the treasury and the resources to manage and many of the grantees and the grants that we give out, it's more of a general direction that people understand that we have committed to a long time ago. That's what building a broader ecosystem. What we haven't been able to do good is explain and catch up when we're writing up summary to help the community understand what has been the progress as well as the next step. So the key points forward is we need to lay out our roadmap more clearly, not just honestly for the few of us, but for even now extended team, and be even more engaging on the community through the forum and some of these AMN sessions and video interview sessions with many of our leaders, but also like with some of the key validators and key community members that want to actively engage with us.
Yeah, no, I agree absolutely. I think a big point there is that for a period of time that we've been experiencing that feedback is that a lot of our community members, our validators, our developers, and our partners have felt that they haven't really been able to, if we were providing that information, and we definitely have set out to do a better job of that, but if we were providing that information, it's very difficult to find between all of our social platforms,
Right.
Discord, Telegram. We may be providing, really awesome information for the community and for our partners, but surfacing that information has always been a root problem for Harmony. So going forward, looking forward, how do you see us taking a leadership role in that and making that information easier to find?
Yeah, I do think that the changes have been pretty drastic this year for the industry, but also for us to think about, do we need like few campaigns? Do we need all the events? Do we need all the DAOs? Compared to how do we go deep to many of the initiatives that the general community can be engaging? I do know that there are many channels that we need to both make it more comprehensive, but also go a lot deeper. In particular, we just started the intercom with Tim and Matt so that they really have a great way of more of customer support. We'll be also organizing with our ecosystem partners through more of a customer success channel, so that to be engaging with them, hopefully even weekly. And then we'll surface it out as an update. And then, of course, over our social media channel, whether Reddit or Twitter, we have been really a little bit hard to be giving update the last few weeks only because many of us are hesitant, but it should be come without question that there is still the best way for many of you guys to give us feedback. Our main point is still going to be doing more writing, more engaging, hopefully on the forum as well. How do we allow some of these new initiatives to be getting feedback is wherever from the community that give us feedback, hopefully they will be also be part of the governance as well. We started all this great effort of organizing, whether as a guild or a DAO. We just haven't really go deep with some of them, if not even funding them over the long term to be self-sustainable. That's many of the this strategy that we'll plan out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for everyone listening, this was something that took me a while to learn, as I've kind of worked within the Harmony community for a long time. But going deep can have a lot of different definitions, right? But for us, at least now, I think really the forward-facing direction, going deep, is really making sure that we are communicating clearly about what we're doing, about the issues we're facing along the way, and making sure that that is a two-way street. So we are providing information to our community, to our partners, to our builders, but also taking that feedback in directly from that point. So I think Intercom is an amazing setup, and obviously we have a lot of work to do in that area. But for our users and our community members to go in and figure out how to use different applications to find out what applications we have that are building and coming to Harmony, I think will give everyone a good sense of direction. So that's one initiative that I am super, super excited about. Turning back to more of the leadership perspective, we've received a ton of feedback from the community about sort of the lessons learned and reflections from your position as a leader within the Harmony ecosystem. So taking a look at that specifically, what do you feel like are some lessons that you really have taken away from that, and how do you kind of apply those going forward for both our teams specifically, because everyone's well aware at this point that we've had a number of our team members take different roles with different projects. So how do we take a holistic look at what's happened from a leadership perspective, and how do we apply that going forward?
For sure. We obviously understand the market downturn and some of the team leaving and also the bridge incident have a huge impact on our both the treasury and the roadmap. But the positive part is we are more hesitant building. The key point is really about this industry, and the adoption is still very early stage, that we are as a builder, we are as early pioneers. It's the commitment, but also the vision that bring this community together that matters the most. We do understand the next few months may not get any easier, not just for our project, but for the whole space. The key point is we come here, we really think that there's not just a big opportunity, but this is a community that we really want to curate over a long term that will be not just about actively participating, but also having a governance on its own over years and years to come. We have done well with our platform. I do still believe that both on the protocol, network, and service level, that we have been the top chains to show that many of the key application of games, GameFi, as well as DeFi are possible. We have all the top DeFi components. We have all the key games to launch on us, and we have some of the top validators as well as wallet. Now, even with all that, the last few months of when we really have been out engaging in events and launching many of the new communities through DAOs and through new grants, when the market completely changed, when our initiative has to deal with more difficult problem with the security incident, I do know that the community feel very uneasy about the next few steps. We did learn a lot as a team, but also as a community, how to really think about security, how to think about scaling while still really keeping the quality of the people in our space. I still recognize many of the logos today, right? Because like many of you have been in this room even before some of them, before even Binance IEO with the validator community. So I do look forward to the next even a few years how some of you would actually now not just about still being part of the community, but helping us govern some of our resources, some of our initiative, but also helping move forward so that it's a really open platform with an open community.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to kind of pick up on something from there, this was something that was sort of posted by users named CGen, that we have launched a number of really awesome initiatives over the last 2 years. But where we often find ourselves is that they don't necessarily meet the expectations that we set. And that's understandable from a broader market perspective. That stuff is kind of outside of our control. But when we're looking at examples that we're looking at initiatives that we've launched, what do you feel from the leadership perspective is necessary to change for us to really nail those initiatives from a core fundamental level before we try to scale to massive size?
Priest, I know you're listening currently, but have you considered asking for a speaker yet?
Broader ecosystem that we need to look at. It's almost a hierarchy. Of course, we started with the protocol itself, understanding the consensus, and there's still a lot of development there that we are very excited about. Not just the cross shard, but thinking about how stateless clients and syncing with large stay and making sure the validators is very robust. So all these protocol works is still many of the founding team still spend a lot of time on to make sure that this protocol is really for many years to stay and to become really scalable whenever there are many applications still beyond even a few millions of people using it. The next level is about our services, as well as many of our whether RPC endpoints and some of the wallet integrations. We do understand that there are many exciting partners that we've been really exploring to understand both for the bridge, but also more of the like professional hosting services that we can partner with. You guys are also understanding the last few years of the development, the space has matured a lot in terms of being able to support even full archival node, even better dashboard, better explorer, that we will be really be able to understand how to externalize some of this,
Control that narrative.
not just within our team, but with other partners as well. On the adoption side, whether it's going to be metaverse, wallet, GameFi, all the way to NFT, is what entire space of blockchain is still exploring, I must argue. To understand what we can do with whether grantees or DAO is something that is very critical for us to learn very quickly. And the great thing is we spend a lot of time engaging of this ecosystem partner now, and it's great time now. It's not about just giving out grants, but to follow up, to build together. We have been working with mostly many of the top grantees as well as investees to understand what they need, both in general technical, but also the marketing launch. So hopefully in coming months, you guys will hear more update, not just from the team, but many of our ecosystem partners as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that sentiment more. I think communication on that front is really where we kind of end up in the situation where when we are communicating, we're not necessarily making sure that that message gets out across all social channels in a consistent way. And this is something that we've talked about over recent weeks. So going forward, I think that is absolutely paramount. And I think one of the big takeaways for everyone listening here is that we have heard a ton of incredible feedback from the community and from our partners over the last several months, and that's not being lost, in the ether. That we are definitely taking that into consideration and making sure that going forward that communication is at the forefront of anything that we do, to justify the why we're doing a certain initiative and why we have our fundamentals set the way that they are, and making sure that feedback is brought back from the community so that those initiatives are as successful as they can possibly be. So with that said, we'll take a quick water break. Stephen,
Yep.
I'm just going to recap some housekeeping real quick for our listeners that have joined since the start.
Okay.
We are going through a Q&A with Steven this morning. We have about another 12 minutes or so before we're going to hand it off to the recovery team. The questions that are being asked are the questions that were posed on the Talk.Harmony forum post that was open over the weekend. We think this is a great initiative in terms of engagement, something we'll definitely plan on doing more going forward. Planned originally to have this also posted on our Reddit. I did not get access to our Reddit in time. That was on me. But we ended up with some amazing questions on the Talk.Harmony forum, and we're going through and hitting some of the highlights, some of the most interactive ones this morning. And we will be following up and answering those questions in written content throughout the week. And we'll be making sure to share that with you guys across our socials. So if you don't hear your question answered this morning, as long as it got in before we close submissions, right before we started the space, we'll make sure to get answers to those and make sure that you guys are notified of that when that goes live. So with that being said, Steven, you got some water ready to go?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Something that we touched on just a moment ago, and this was just one that I specifically got a direct message for, so I have to make sure that we ask this one,
Sure.
is in regards to RPCs, and sort of hit on it already. But our mainnet RPC has had its own fair share of issues. We could all agree on that one. So taking a look at RPCs as an example, looking at partners that do that really well in this space, could you go a little bit deeper on Harmony's thoughts on how to best implement stuff like that, where it'd be most effective for our end users?
Yeah. So there are three aspects to it. One is, what can we do within the load that we have? How do we actually scale? Not just about how many requests we get, but the big space that we need to handle in terms of disk, in terms of request amount. The second part is the first one is scale. The second one is stability. We do know that whenever we make changes, whenever we come up with new features, there are always some disruption whenever we get it wrong and downtime. And then the last part is obviously what kind of partners can we work with from now and on, not just about internal effort, but the space has matured a lot to understand what would be a great strategy going for long term. So the scaling, the great news is since the elastic RPC that we have done a lot this year, we already have deployed to 2 clusters now. One is in the main America, the other second is Europe, that the scaling has been much improved. As you guys know, we're dealing with huge scaling, not just with DeFi Kingdom, but many of the applications from the grantees, from other games coming on our platform to be really battle testing it. So we feel very confident that in terms of scaling, we are able to handle much more of the traffic now, that we are one of the top chain to understand how would it be possible to onboard even more games, if not even other applications, onto our platform. In terms of scaling, elastic RPC. In terms of stability, this is a painful thing. I do know that blockchain is supposed to work not just 99.9999% of the time, it should be 100% of the time. Our network and protocol do work almost all the time. We have very much, since launch 3 years ago, the mainnet has been really producing blocks and making it move forward. The endpoint of RPC, if not sometimes on the surface side, the multi-sig and so on, has become a problem. We do know maintaining that require full team effort, that will be staffing more DevOps on that. And that's just the bandwidth issue. We have other issue, which is when we roll out new features, it becomes extremely difficult to understand, is it just a wallet issue? Is it a feature issue? Is it a RPC endpoints for a certain particular region? Or is it all the way to the network, the protocol itself being done? We do know that having many more monitoring, having more escalation paths whenever things go wrong is more than just a customer service, but more even affecting our partners has been something that we need to have paid more attention on. coming back here, we'll not only having more clear emergency contact for some of our partners, escalation for inside the team, but also we'll post that also externally to understand when there are issues, how to escalate, and when there are more broader outage, not just having a post-mortem, but what are the way of understanding the issue within the team and within the community. But the last part is also interesting. Now that there are more partners that actually deal with that issue, some of the partners that we have signed on the last few months, we have not been able to announce it just yet because we're still in the middle of both onboarding. Will be hopefully sometime later this year that we'll both have our internal effort, Elastic RPC, but also the long-term platform, long-term scaling with some of the services with some of the external partners that will make sense for long-term as well.
Absolutely. And just to name drop a few, Stably and QuickNode were recent ones that have announced on their side, and ones that we're planning on highlighting throughout this week and next week that are doing amazing work. And being able to partner with them makes so much sense from our perspective because they are already doing amazing work, and being able to collaborate with them more effectively, I think hits the nail home on the head on that one. To take a look at what I would consider one of the elephants in the room, is that we have talked about communication. We have talked about how we go deep as a team. But how do we really explain that to the not only just the hundreds of listeners here, but the thousands of community members we have broadly? What does that mean for an end user who wants to find out more when we're saying that we're going to be communicating more? One of the concerns that has been brought up time and time again here recently, and I believe with understandable, is that we haven't been transparent in our communications. So I just wanted to touch on that, and then more so kind of give you an opportunity to explain.
The question
really
being
how
asked
the
now is a
writing
good one.
process for
Let's
Harmony
hear
is
this.
evolving, and what we'll be doing going forward.
Let's hear the answer for this one.
So I always said being radically transparent is a key part of being whether a blockchain community or what I call open platform community. We never shy away from that. What happened in the last few weeks is something that is really unprecedented to be not just the team but the community to understand. It becomes not just about what we wish the culture or the communication channel to be, but what both our lawyers and investigative team as well as external, I must say, police and FBI have been advising us to be very mindful of how to be doing the forensics, but also the recovery plan. So we were not prepared for it. We obviously didn't plan of the crisis management to be such way, but we never shy away of our culture of engaging the community all the way to even active governance with the validator in community, but also as transparent as we get. What is really lost the last few weeks is we post lots of details, even about treasury, as well as our work stream, as well as our deliverables and milestones. As you guys know, we even share about our own performance review, milestones, deliverables among the team. What we have find is information doesn't mean communication, and communication doesn't mean engagement, and engagement is not enough in terms of asking everyone to be part of this community all the way to governance. So we'll do all these better. Whatever that we finally can announce and disclose, you guys will be the first one to know. But we need to also package it in a way that everyone understands, in different format, showing different channel, engaging you guys with different, whether Reddit AMA or I have been posting a few videos, are all necessary, I must say, packaging, right? Everyone understand information differently. And then the next step has to be, what is the story here? What is the thing going forward? We can't just be dealing with crisis and answering questions, right? We need to show the leadership as well, whether for myself or our leadership team and many of you stepping up to be the leader from the community to take on even the recovery plan must be really encouraged that way, so that we will come back with our content team, communication team, but also we have been awesome making the video. If not, even I was writing a lot of on Notion that must encourage that our leaders and the community to not feel shy when there are crises and problems and challenges, that we still need to establish our long-term vision here. But these are only the 3 steps. The final step has always been, what can we help the community to be part of this governance? So we'll write out a few more thoughts on that, so that it's not just about us talking, you guys listening, or here's the story and you guys buy it, but more that we are going to be doing it together.
Yeah, I think that all of those points are really fundamental things that we have to get right for our community, our partners, as well as our team members. Our core team and our extended team. Because
Anybody else
a roadmap
frustrated as hell right now? Because I am.
with all of the events that we have, but absolutely acknowledging the events and being able to communicate in due time lessons learned from that and how we improve going forward. I think is one of the best ways that we provide a service to the community that brought me up to having this conversation with you today. So with that being said, we are approaching our 12:30 mark. So just give you the final minute or so. If you want to add anything, feel free, and then we'll transition over to Recovery One.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jeremy. Most of all, of course, both the team and the community are just so excited having Jeremy playing this critical role. I do know the time is hard, and honestly, the next few weeks and few months may be very even clear for the industry where things are going. The great thing is this community is really about not just streamers but builders. We do know that many of the communication get lost, but because some of you are really heavily impacted financially, emotionally, but also lost in where things are going. That the leadership team and the core team just has done dealing with problems. And the great thing is, many of us has really struggled through different market downturn, but also like understanding where the adoption coming in this space. That we are really believing in this space, believing in our culture of open community and open development more than ever. So the fact that we may not be showing up every day on Twitter or on some of the social channel is not because we are discouraged. Not that because the problem is too big and too hard and we are shining away. Different times call for different way of engaging and showing up and marketing and talking to you guys. But granted, we are still the same people that we started 4 years ago. We are still the same people that believe that it's not about the next 4 years, but many years to come, that this community will be so important in this space, that is beyond a belief, but a vision that we share together. Is really beyond something that's just the process of a content, but we have the whole team still share the same dream, same heart, that this community is what we belong. That we don't owe it, we don't own it, we don't owe it. We actually still believe that there's so much we can build together.
Yeah, absolutely, and I believe that vision still holds true. And want to thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. And I look forward to doing more of these with you over the coming weeks. There's plenty more to talk about, and I think the community at large would appreciate that. Going forward, we'll definitely want to have these in more open forums. We're just trying to make sure we got questions answered and got everybody out. As I'm also about to hit a flight here in a few minutes.
What about the other 90% of the questions that were asked?
For joining us this morning, and I look forward to continuing these conversations with you going forward.
Same here. Thank you, everyone. I do know that it's really great time to have some more interactive, if not even face-to-face time. Not just hanging there, but let's keep building. We do know there are a lot of positive vibe in this community, but in broader, what you want to build for the space, for the world. I'm so glad to be here. Again, thank you, everyone.
Thank you again, Stephen. And just to recap before we hand off to the Recovery One team, Again, the questions that were answered will also still have text answers provided later today and going into tomorrow. We'll try to have those up before the end of the week, both on the Talk to Harmony forum as well as Reddit and our socials here. But yeah, if you did not get your question answered during that 30-minute Q&A, rest assured we'll get as many of the questions answered as we possibly can, as quickly as we can. So with that being said, we do have the Recovery One team to wrap up the hour, and they'll be going over some details about our recovery plan as well as next steps moving forward. Some great places to.
So Steve is now gone. He's not in the space anymore, and now we're going to be hearing from the Harmony One recovery team. Let's listen to that for a bit before we continue.
If you need me, I will be here pretty much until the end, but I will be leaving for the airport here in just a moment. For everyone that's in the space, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning, and keep communicating with us, keep providing that feedback, and keep asking difficult questions, because that's how we grow together.
You don't acknowledge them.
Look forward to it, and rest assured that I will do everything in my power to make sure we continue to build in that place. So if you guys need anything, you can reach out to me directly on Twitter at Globia_NFT, or reach out to me on Telegram or Discord. So with that, Matt, I segue over to you guys.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Stephen. And thank you for this comprehensive event today. I just want to start off by saying these live events are so valuable, and I want to highlight that action. So thank you. I also want to thank everybody for the engagement over the last couple days.
Just want to be clear to everyone who's in our podcast listening, that was not my fucking question.
So thank you on that front.
I can't turn down the podcast at the same time, so if it's difficult to hear us, I do apologize.
So I don't need all 30 minutes. It's going to be a quick 3-minute update to give you some quick information and lead you towards action. Just give you a quick overview of the agenda. So I want to state our mission and our purpose so everybody can digest it again. I also want to open up and say today we will be receiving proposals. So I want to share the details on where you can send those and take action. And lastly, talk about the next steps. So once you submit a proposal, what are we going to do? How do you get involved, and how do we create that discussion and build? So jumping into Recovery One's mission. Our mission, the recovery of depegged assets and the strengthening of the Harmony ecosystem through community-governed action. Our primary purpose is to promote collaborative action. Community members create proposals with community input and facilitate discussions and initiate voting processes with its members. So that's the framework. That's the framework that we're working in and building solutions. So I want to dive into how do we take action? Where to send proposals? So we want to empower the community. That's really my mission. That's really what I'm good at, and our team is good at. And we want everyone and anyone to share. We want all ideas. We want all solutions. We want all proposals to be sent to us. We want you to be comfortable submitting anything. Any ideas are welcome. And the reason, the more information we receive, the more comprehensive our solutions are. So it's kind of simple. Going back to last week's Twitter space, I mentioned we are all here for something. Whether you're a user, investor, developer, partner, whatever, we're all here for something unique. So it's time to get in the game, take action, bring some solutions, and I'll show you how to do this now. So where to send your ideas and proposals. Some of you might have seen Pioneer's tweet. He put a post out there on the Talk forum and also onto Twitter. Please go to recovery1.community. Okay? So we'll be posting this on our socials afterwards. Recovery1.community. And this is how you get involved. We want to see as much input as possible, as much engagement as possible. So go to that URL. That's where you submit your proposals. And then you say, I submit a proposal. What's the next step? How do we move this idea along? How do we evolve this idea? So the next step is after you submit, Recovery One will be connecting to you via Telegram to do a deep dive into the proposal. So please build the framework. The proposals are to focus on depegged assets and restoring the ecosystem. And that's the guardrail. That's the lane that we're in. Okay. So I'm wrapping up here. I'll just do one final recap. You first go to recovery1.community and you submit your proposal.
It's a Google form.
Second, we'll review these. and we'll reach out to you via Telegram. We'll have a private Telegram where we can build the discussion, and in the hopes of bringing in the partners, ecosystem partners, advisors, to really build this idea. Okay. So I said I was going to be specific and quick. That is all for us, and that wraps up this larger event. Thank you again. You can find us on our socials as well. Thank you, Harmony, for doing this event. It is incredibly valuable. The Recovery One team looks forward to your submissions, and that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome, Matt. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys hopping on this morning, and we look forward to reviewing those submissions. And yeah, absolutely having greater discussions going forward on that. So thank you guys again for joining this morning.
What?
You're welcome.
All right. And just to kind of wrap everything up, guys.
What a fucking joke.
Thank you all for spending your morning with us. This was very much put together this weekend just to kind of get the conversation flowing in a direction that makes sense to all of us. I joined officially over the weekend to sort of step into some of the roles that have been left open. And I came from the community. I've been around for a couple of years now, and I still very much want what I think we all set out to dream about from the beginning. So going forward, we do absolutely want to have more of these and have these more in an open forum. This is just truncated because I have to fly my kids back. So we will get through all of the Talk to Harmony questions later today and tomorrow, get answers for all those from Stephen and from the leadership team. And from me personally, I commit to making sure that we just communicate as well as we possibly can. There's plenty of areas for improvement in that, and I don't think that's lost on anyone that is part of the team, because at the end of the day, we are all just in service of trying to make sure that Harmony is the best place for developers, best place for end users, and we have a lot of work to do in that regard to build and restore trust. So take this as very much a starting point, and this isn't the only conversation we'll be having. We'll be making sure to communicate these updates more regularly to you guys, and just want to personally thank you guys again for your feedback, for your questions, and absolutely please keep them coming because that's what pushes everybody to improve. So with that being said, I want to have a great rest of your afternoon, and if you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us either via Twitter, via direct messages, or via the Talk.Harmony forum, and we will absolutely be talking to you guys again soon. Thank you so much, guys.
Wow.
I don't. So there's going to be another Twitter space in like 20 minutes that Strong Minds Hold is going to hold, and I know I'm going to be able to talk in that one. I'm going to say some shit. So,
I mean,
I would
sorry for cutting you off. The first point for me, right, is they suggested that you put forward a question, but that is not the question that you asked. Can you just remind everybody what the question was that you asked, please?
Sure, dude. Actually, what's really funny is I actually have that right up in front of me. It's almost like I thought this might happen. Dear Stephen, thank you for your time. I understand you have a number of things that must require your attention. I hope that this question, in parentheses and quotation marks, will bring a few items that I believe require your sole attention. I've had the honor of being a part of this community for over a year, and while the community I joined is one of the strongest communities I have ever experienced, there are things that are transpiring that I find to be distasteful, not within our community, but to the community, and by those who desire to lead it. I'm unsure if you're aware of the non-payment for VDAO for terms 1 and 4. There were no applicants for term 5. These are payments for work done, not future work. With validators being the lifeblood of a point of stake work network, how do you reconcile these decisions? When will you remit payment to the validators? I then quote the exact numbers that they owe, or they're owed. Term 1 is owed $387,962 and 0.551. And to be clear, that was when one was worth 22 cents each. So for them to get the actual dollar value that they were owed, it would be 2.77 million one with current values as of yesterday. Term 4 is owed 414,284 one. That's occurring to their treasurer. Their process for payment was interrupted by the hack and multiple process changes, but I linked to their treasurer's post about payment getting paid. Are you aware that validators are not the only community members that are affected by non-payment? Let's go through the grant applicants that were approved for funding and then they were not funded. DeFi Kingdoms approved for $1 million, received 0. And then I referenced the Talk forum post specifically with that. Knights and Peasants. And then I screen capped what Shantastic wrote. Knights and Peasants had our grant approved. Darth was doxxed. And then they wanted us to change our milestones after we hit 2 of them. And then they canceled our grants. And I write, the list goes on. And should other community members have more projects to mention, please reply with them and their experience, preferably a forum link, raffle, and I will finalize and edit before Tuesday's AMA, which I did. Do you understand that Harmony having a history of non-payment to their business partners is a huge red flag for leadership to be lacking? How can future partners trust that you will pay them for work they do? What is your process for improving as a leader? Why should we believe that it will improve your process? Why should we believe that it will improve your process? Regarding the hack, how can anyone believe you will act in their best interest when you have not presented an actionable plan in over 50 days? And what did you believe the first proposal would achieve aside from community outrage? How can you cultivate consensus when the first proposal was so far from acceptable to the community? My hope is that these questions will allow you to self-reflect and understand that there is nothing wrong with recognizing you need help. Seeking help isn't weakness, it's strength. Be well, priest. And I said my real name, Ryan. No one calls me Ryan though, so don't do that. You literally won't get responses. But I feel like that if you're going to be such an asshole to somebody, you should probably tell them what your first name is.
I mean, that's not what they said that you asked.
Those words that they said that I asked were not my words, and I want them to say that publicly. I'm going to make that clear. But if they don't have posts by, they said later today and tomorrow, if they don't post when they're going to be paying the validators, I'm going to journalists. I don't care. I've had enough. I'm done. I don't really give a shit. I'm not fighting for money for me, so I don't feel bad about being an asshole. I'm not fighting for myself because these are other people that deserve to get paid for their shit, dude. And I'm done with that shit. It's fucking ridiculous. And yeah, that's how I feel. And the reason I'm so angry, everybody that's listening, is because if I read those words to you, which I did, and you listen to the beginning when they said my name twice, they said my name fucking twice. They didn't answer my fucking questions. They bastardized my words to fit their fucking narrative. They used me in a way that makes my blood boil. So if I have the opportunity to fucking destroy them, I will, because they owe me an apology, and they owe all the people that they owe money to the fucking money they owe. Because unless they recognize that they can apologize in the future, right? And I can forgive, because that's how you grow as a person, right? You forgive people when they fuck up. Maybe they didn't mean to do that, but they said my name before and they said my name after, and then they took my words and then made them something else. So I don't know, man. That's like misappropriating a quote, right? That'd be like saying fucking. You could say a lot of really fucked up things with that, so I'm just not going to touch that. I'm just going to leave that alone and just go and just be very frustrated. I'm livid and I have a baby that's crying, so I'm going to pass on to you for a second so you can react to what transpired.
So, as a lot of people were watching, some of you may have noticed my reactions to things, and some of you may have noticed that I was being rather potentially harsh towards the way they were talking, but there was a lot of questions that were asked on the Harmony One forum, and there were a lot of points raised, and practically none of them were addressed. They spoke about the RPC, which is something people have been asking for quite some time. Okay, fine, but the questions, they asked for questions, and the questions that were asked were not the questions that were addressed. And one of the questions that was asked wasn't even answered, or even spoken properly. So the question that was asked by probably Priest was not the question that they said. So they've like Priest said, they bastardized his words. And
then they give a non-answer.
And then they give a non-answer. Right. So, I can understand how you might have been furious at that. So MTop Swap just tweeted, and I need to tweet this out because I think it clarifies exactly what we're trying to say here. The Stephen Stee hashtag Twitter space was like some alternate reality where the entire ecosystem wasn't depegged and users/projects weren't fleeing on a daily basis. 98% of your questions did not get asked, and of those, only softball Stephen gave non-answer. That was a disgrace. I completely agree. There was absolutely no substance to that whatsoever. It was yeah, it was terrible. You know when you eat ramen noodle in the pot and you put the water in, right? That Twitter space was the dregs, the water, and the little bit of salt and pepper left at the bottom with one random pea. It wasn't the rest of the ramen, you know. It was just a complete and utter nothing burger. But then again, we said at the start, that's pretty much what we were expecting. But it was the fact of the matter is, it was actually more infuriating than that, because whilst we expected it to be a nothing burger, and whilst we expected it to be something that was going to seriously lack in substance, it was worse than that, because maybe if they had read out some of the questions that were actually asked on the forum and on Reddit, and then gave non-answers to those, we could actually... Do you know what I mean? I'm angry right now. Thanks for the follow, Sweverin. Grove Token, what network's that on, dude? We're discussing the Harmony 1 AMA right now, but we can get to that another time. Going back to Twitter Spaces, I do believe that there is a recap with Tim that hasn't gone live.
11 minutes.
Yeah, it hasn't gone live yet, but I think we should probably go on that and check that out as well when it goes live. I have a reminder set.
Yeah, I'll be talking on that. It's tonight. It's in like 11 minutes. I'm gonna be on that talking.
I think
I can guarantee it.
I think we can maybe take a leaf out of our illustrious leaders' words right now, and maybe just have a little bit of a water break right now. So I'm going to make a coffee. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the Be Right Back, but have Twitter on in the background. What I would like all of you to do is maybe formulate some questions and give us some of your points as well to what we just experienced there. But stick with us, because we're going to be going into another space. We're going to be doing more talking on this. I just need to gather my thoughts a little bit. I'm completely blown away by how terrible that fucking was. Excuse my language.
Dude, it was worse than we thought it was. Like, we said it was going to be bad. We literally said it. We said what they would do, and we were right, except
it was worse.
We were not, but we were wrong either. Like, they didn't answer my questions. They only tossed off softballs. They gave us non-answers. They didn't give us anything actionable, right? And where we are now is we're angrier than we were before the Twitter space, right? Because we knew it was going to be bad, and it was worse. How could it be worse?
How?
Like, how are they that bad? I don't understand.
So I think we're going to be streaming a lot longer than normal today. We don't even normally stream on a Tuesday, but it's going to go longer anyway. So we're going to do some overtime here. We're going to be discussing, possibly even get some other guests from the community on the podcast as well. I'm going to go make a coffee first of all. So I'm going to put on the Be Right Back. If you don't mind me just kind of muting up in Discord for, I don't know, say 5 minutes. Should we call it 5 minutes? We don't want to leave it too long. And I will be back with you, dude. So yeah, keep the call open if you can, and I will be back in 5 minutes. I'm going to put the music on. Speak to you in a minute, priest. So yeah, like I said, we're going to go on a Be Right Back. So I'm going to put the Be Right Back screen on right now. I will turn my camera off. In fact, I'm just going to add the window capture to the Be Right Back screen, which is going to be that one, I believe. Yeah, we need to make that a bit smaller. You can tell I haven't set up my windows. So that is what's going to be... no, that's too far. There we go. What on earth is going on? Yeah, so why is that in front? That needs to be behind. Is it that one? Nope. Is it that one? Nope. Is it that one? No. Oh my god. It should be. That's interesting. I'm so confused. All right, well, we'll just put it in there. It's not a problem. So yeah, if you guys can just go ahead and formulate your questions, points that you want to talk about. Maybe you even want to actually come on and talk with us on the pod. Please do so. Reach out on Discord send me a private message or join the Crypto Lamb Discord. The link is discord.com/ and I just realized the socials are not there. Let's just go back to the main screen. It'll be a lot easier. Why is Google up? I never put that there. Oh yeah, that's because we're not on that one, we're on that one. That makes more sense. I'm such a stupid idiot. Right, so yeah, if you want to come on and discuss the situation with us, then please do. We are going to open up the lines and have an open discussion on this. And yeah, we'll be RB, I guess. What the hell, man? Just what the hell?
Yeah. Unknown Brain, Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games. Yeah, I know that I found somebody else to love me one day. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side. No, you did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye. So now I gotta say goodbye.
Yeah, my life is lovely now, I'm focused on me. You said you were about to die, I guess the car is on E. But see, I ain't even tripping, cause I just chose to believe that somebody gon' come around and give me just what I need. I don't wanna see you finding, see you looking down and out, coming to me crying, saying you miss having me around. Gave you chances and you blew it, you so easily influenced. All the times you told me beat it, now you gotta face the music. I'm saying
I know that I gotta stay away from all your games. Yeah, I know that I found somebody else to love me one day. You'll realize the grass ain't greener on the other side. No, you did me dirty for the last time, so now I gotta say goodbye. So now I gotta say goodbye. Many lives does it take to realize what's going on? How many years have gone by? When will I reach the finish line? Does it ever end? Is there some reason to all of this?
me over. I kill my fill 3 times a day. These ethanol fumes won't make me sober. One flame to take the pain away. I caught you lighting matches in the back room. Haters look mad when they pass you. Let's talk about around when it's past due. Reach a glass, do no. You don't gotta fight alone. You don't gotta fight alone. Don't be so personal. Everyone's seen death in their dreams, but we still wake up and go to sleep. Everyone's seen death in their dreams, but we still wake up from our sleep. I'll be home soon. You don't gotta fight alone. You don't gotta fight alone. You don't gotta fight alone. Don't be so personal. I'm going under. I'm going under. Who do you rely on now? I know the worst. I know the worst. Who can you call on now? I know the worst. I know the worst.
Hello, everybody. Sorry for the. Oh my God! Just pause. Jesus. Right. So yeah, sorry about the delay there. I was just getting a coffee and everything else. Would you need my phone? 1 second. Oh, what to call in that? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, no, we're back, and let me just see if Priest is still there. He might. Oh no, he's gone. Oh, he might be in the space. Let me check. Is that live? Let me see. Yeah, it's live. Let's listen to that. I'm late.
Harsh words, but I respect what you're saying. Thank you.
I just want to point.
Can I
just
just
wanna-
say something?
Yeah, you had your hand up, bro. Go ahead and speak. And anybody else,
Yeah.
please put your hands up because we're going to be busy.
I think Tony is right. I think the IBC bridge, it was in the Cosmos bridge was in the making, and the RPC question, the elastic RPCs, right? It was already communicated that that was under the works. So there was a GitHub repo that was, the item was put on the GitHub repos, and we knew that elastic RPC is coming. So there were a lot of non-answers that Steven literally just a bunch of word salad. It was nothing that the community didn't already know. But yes, few keywords that I was able to capture during the conversation was he mentioned metaverse, he mentioned DAOs again, and which again rings bells in my ears, because I think he's leading this chain down a dark path, and there's no coming back from this.
Before we continue, there's a lot of people requested to speak. I think we already hit our quota. So if you speak and you say what you want or ask a question and get the answer, whatever, go ahead and step down so that we can keep people constantly flowing up here. Anybody want to respond? Oh, he already dropped the mic. Access, you're next, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think they asked priests and bastardized his question at the very beginning, and that kind of just set the tone for the whole thing. And I had a little bit of hope going into it, and the way that question was answered just crushed it and set the tone. That being said, what some of the others have already said, that a bunch of non-answers were given and a question evading questions that were cherry-picked. It's just really sad. And the fact that he has the balls to use the words communication and transparency is a fucking joke.
Cool. So I think Bricktop, were you next, bud?
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest, that went exactly how I thought it was going to be. The very fact that Stephen, in a time like, came on to a space where over 1,000 people expressed intent to join and actually decided just to speak for 30 minutes, answer around 4 questions, completely different questions than what was asked. Barely answered anything and give these fluffy answers like he usually does. And then I'm not sure who's responsible for this kind of recovery plan, but for that guy to speak for 3 minutes and duck out and the space to be over in, less than 38 minutes was actually, I'm not gonna swear, but I'm honestly so insulted. And if anyone isn't, then I'm just wondering what's going on, to be honest with you, because if people haven't seen how bad this guy is after everything that's came out, after next to no improvements and no hope, then I don't know what people are still doing here. I'm so sorry. I do love the community. I even love Harmony. But when I think about Harmony, I'm not thinking about Stephen and Lee. I'm thinking about the core team members that put their blood, sweat, and tears into this chain, the community and everyone else that's poured everything they have into this. And for this to happen, I'm just so pissed, man. But I love you guys. But yeah, cool.
Hey, thanks, Bricktop. Org, I saw your hand next, and I saw Hyper Eve, Rocket Monsters, and then Crypto Clay. And anybody else that wants to talk, please raise your hand.
Yeah, hey, I just wanted to start by apologizing. I came on pretty hot there, and I noticed he's left. If anybody has a link to his account, please text me. I said they know more than he does, which was only half of it, about the situation. Frustration, and hearing that people are blindly trying to support and throw people into this, and just ignore all of the good conversations and the people that are out there trying to help the community make sure that they're at least diversified, right? I mean, I love Harmony. I love this community. I helped freaking build and keep this community alive, right? And I don't know, it just tears me apart when I see people blindly supporting it. And thank you, Timmy. Tim just sent me the link to him, so I can personally apologize. It really tears me up to hear people say they were not true, and countering the or the perceived negativity with rambunctious positivity just to keep it going, right? I mean, there's some things that they either need to change or die. And as much as I love the team and all they've put into this and the community more than anything, it either needs to change or die, folks. We need to force them to change or walk away to protect your own investments, right? We as a community can survive. We will go other places for people. Some of you know that. Those of you that may have reached out to me. I definitely don't want to like come in here and start pulling people out. That's not my intent. But I do want to be ready when y'all find yourselves ready and you reach out looking for help, that I'm there to help you, right? And then there's other people that are doing that too. I'm not alone in that. There's a lot of the community that's kind of seen the writing on the wall. The people that have been around for a while, they know what's happening. They've seen chains fail. They've seen what happens beforehand, and it's ugly. But what happens is
the people that have been working so hard and trying to find ways to fix things and be helpful, like people that have been in these spaces like Juice, Tim, and Jess, and Pioneer, and Priest. Like, this community has worked so hard and done so much, and it's amazing to be around, to see it. I've never seen so much support for any project in Web3. And the fact that all we hear from Harmony is word salad constantly, like, for me, immediately I started seeing them do this, where it's all just about basically telling you a lullaby full of word salad to make you, I don't know, hyped up about something or whatever. But they really haven't said much of anything, and they're just putting all the stress and responsibility on whoever else other than themselves. And I think listening to what they did today, it was almost even worse than what they've done in the past. And as far as even like misconstruing questions and avoiding things. And until the power dynamic changes, like, nothing's going to change. Like, that's it, period. And I think that, like, it's really cool to hear Ogre talk about this, because unless the power dynamic changes, nothing's going to change. And we know that's the fact because we saw the first video Steven did was him basically begging to keep his job. So we know what people's intentions are and what their motivations are. Harmony's like leadership cares about keeping their job and about making everyone think that everything's fine, and not actually being transparent. And then all the people that have been really positive for Harmony, regardless of what's happening, and kind of turning a blind eye to it. Like, you got to think about people's motivation. Like, what are their investments and what's going on? Like, the comment about people being paid to be negative is complex or perplexing to me, because I feel like everyone being at least being critical is like, that's what you need to be doing. Like, your life, your money is involved in this. I don't have a huge investment in Harmony like a lot of you do, so I just want to try to be helpful and supportive and try to help people where I can. So thank you to everyone that's been working really hard. Thank you for Tim just having this space, and thanks a lot, and I'll step down.
Hey, Rocket Monsters, I believe you're next.
Hey, what's up, guys? So, where to start? I don't say a lot, but listening to everything, watching everything, I think we can all agree at this point that there's not a plan. There is no plan. If there was a battle and attack plan, we would already be stepping into that battle. We basically heard a plan about a plan that's talking about another plan. You can't base anything off of that. A project such as Rocket Monsters can't base anything off of that, going out roadmap wise. You know, coming from another chain to Harmony and watching the Harmony community, I haven't been in Harmony as long as some of you have, but this is one of the most fantastic communities that I've ever been a part of. So if there's anything that any of you can garner from the events that are going on, is that you've been rallied. And now it's time to start making decisions for yourself, for your projects, and for everything going forward. A community together can move and do great things. we're not seeing anything at all that, I mean, there's no hope there. There's nothing. That was word salad. Like, just listening into it each time, it gets worse and worse because there's nothing being truly said. And it's extremely frustrating. I know that I don't say a lot on Twitter just because I know how that goes, but this is not a good look. If they're wanting change, it definitely needs to come in a different looking package, and nothing is going to get done continuing in this manner. And it almost feels like this is being pawned off on the community. And how does that go? Where does that go once the community puts out what we think and what we want? Then is that another process of going through all of that to give us another plan? So by the time we get to that, we're already going to have a ton of projects that have left. We're going to have a ton of people that have left. So what's left of the ecosystem at that point? So I think we have too many questions, and I think the majority of us kind of already know what directions we're going in. So with the brilliant community that we have, let's stick together. Try not to fight against each other, because we're unified against this one idea, and it's the idea of this chain dying. So let's stay unified in our voice and how we handle this, and let's take care of business. That's all I have to say.
All right, thanks, Rocket Monsters. Just to remind everybody, we're 17 minutes in within the hour. This is a perfect time for a water break. So if you need to get those electrolytes rolling in, go get some Gatorade, hydrate yourself, stay away from the sun. And Crypto Clay, go ahead and take it.
Hey guys, many of you already know where I stand with the Harmony team, and so I won't harp too much on that. I will say that today was an excellent example of what I've been trying to stress for months now, and that's the fact that the team just doesn't care. They really just don't care about the community at all. A good leader would have canceled any other appointments that they had today and set that stuff aside to talk to the people that really matter, and that's the community. It's actually the community that raised Harmony to be what it is today, because I've been in the Harmony community for over 2 years now, and they've never had a marketing director the entire time I've been in the Harmony community. So that goes to show you just how much the community has put into building this blockchain up to what it is today. And the fact that Steven only set aside 30 minutes of his time today to answer some bullshit questions that had no issue with the hack itself really goes to show you just how little he actually cares about this community. And that's honestly devastating to what they're trying to build. I still have a ton of liquidity on Harmony, and it was just sad to listen in today. That's all I wanted to say.
Thanks, Clay. What you got, Miguel?
Hey, everyone. I just wanted to say, beyond the hack and the treasury and everything, what was really disappointing to me is his no acknowledgement of the team that surrounds him every day and listens to this, and how hard they are working against somebody that is not listening. I have been in those rooms with the Harmony team, and there are some incredible, incredible people there, and they are not being set up for success. And today's AMA just continue to show that. And there's just amazing people in there, and this blockchain could be something. That's it.
Thanks, Miguel. Crypto Lamb, see your hands up.
We can't hear you so far. Your mic's off.
Okay, maybe we'll get back to them. In the meantime, Steele, you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah, I think I'll say this one thing. That Steven is not competent enough to lead this project. I think he's shown through his actions that neither knows how to support his team members, and he has, in fact, willingly or unwillingly forced almost every he had out of this project. And this is not just it's been happening since 2020 2021, and it's really embarrassing to see that it come to this. I mean, this extent, it has to go this low for things to change. I think the community can probably do as the next step is write an open letter. All the community members, all the validators, you write a community letter and you just give a one-off final warning that in case he in a non-transparent structure like he has in this previous call, we are definitely exiting our investment. Personally, don't care anymore of having a financial stake in this project as long as this guy is leading the chain.
Well, thanks. Crypto Lamb, I don't know if you're on a computer, but if you are, you can only speak via mobile phone. But I saw Unite Finance raise their hand first. After that, have Gash.
Yeah, hi, this is John Crypto. So I can see bluntly that there's a lack of public relationship, and I brought this up on the last call. And what's saddening a little bit is that there are PR individual specialists in this community. If I recall, I think Juice, last call you said you had this kind of background. I think we're all willing. There are PR individual specialists in this community. If I recall, I think Juice, last call you said you had this kind of background. I think we're all willing to chip in and make a difference. It's I wish the team would understand a little bit more about this.
Thanks, Gash. Go ahead and speak then.
Can anybody else hear him?
No,
Nope.
dude, I thought I was going to run.
You might have to check your input audio settings. I don't know if it's connected to headphones or speaker. Okay. V, you've got some. Actually, Gas is back. Let's give him.
Okay.
And he left.
Can you hear me, guys? First of all.
Yes.
Okay. I have been in Harmony since the beginning, first an investor, and later I went out because I saw these warnings 2 years ago. Then my mates, kind of said, hey, come back. I came back, and this happened. 2 months ago, I mentioned we need security for the protocol. We need better Explorer. Nothing happened. I was told that nobody was interested in getting help, and now they're asking for that help for free. This is, in my opinion, become a grab and dump chain. And we need to get the fuck out of here because we are getting fooled. That's just what I want to say.
Thank you. And just like full disclosure for everybody, the community is, you guys can see they're upset. We are going to have a lot of people come up and express their opinions. It is ultimately up to you to do your own research and make those decisions, but we're not telling you to make any decision. So also please be respectful to each other, and go ahead, Gash.
I don't think his mic's gonna work. Hey, Harmony over there in Miami, what you got, man?
Hey everybody. I just feel like played really. I mean, I went trying to listen to the whole questioning, but it wasn't anything like really solid. And I've been trying to stay very positive with the situation, not posting anything. But it's hard to stay positive when this guy doesn't wake up, And I don't know. It's from this. It's even in my mind, I've been like thinking about changing the name of my Twitter account. It's like trying to separate myself from being the Harmony one in Espanol. Just be someone that just likes to talk about crypto. But I don't know. I hope this guy maybe the water he's drinking today is gonna make him wake up and do something that tomorrow he's gonna be like, okay, that water helped me realize that I need to do something for the community, and hopefully we do see something different tomorrow with that water.
Thanks, bud. Gash, I see you back up here. Want to try your mic again?
Yeah, good evening, guys. I don't know if you can hear me now.
Dude, perfect. Go ahead, man.
All right. Well, first of all, I'm coming from an Avalanche-based project, and we have a lot of collaboration and partnerships with a lot of Harmony-based projects. Between brackets, the nicest people we've ever met. And it was normal that we come up here, show support and love to all of you guys, especially for everything that happened. But sadly, what we've witnessed tonight or today with Stephen is that as an individual, he's still in denial, right? He's not acknowledging what happened, trying to twisting those things around and not questions. For an AMA, for everything that's happened, for an AMA to come up and speak for like 38 minutes, that's not enough for an entire community. Entire community has been dedicated for this project, and we've seen this. Unfortunately, I'm not bashing Harmony. I think it's a very nice project. It's a very good project and some really good projects in there. But unfortunately, the main team does not care. They are so hungry for their position because normally in any business, whenever you step down, you allow someone else to come up and maybe salvage what can be salvaged. That's not happening. What we are seeing tonight is someone who's just throwing wishes and all of that. So, we sincerely hope for all the best for you guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate the words. Mafaz, saw you come up. Then M-Top Swap, you can go next after.
Yeah, well, I want to echo what the last guy said, who he left a few years ago and then came back and said warnings. It's not a year ago or over a year ago. I was everybody was into the whole, it's gonna be decentralized, get the DAOs, let's be part of the community, and the community did that and stepped up. But when we weren't really going anywhere, they didn't want to know. And then when we got somewhere, they didn't want to know. And then now it's all screwed up. All of a sudden, it's let's let the community sort it out. So we all of us in the community put in a lot of hard work to make or to try and make Harmony truly a community-run chain, decentralized, and so on and so forth. And that was all just knocked back. The biggest enemy against all of decentralization and DAOs and community-driven projects was Harmony themselves. And as we now know, this was all coming from Stephen, or at least whoever, maybe somebody controls Stephen. I don't know. We'll never know that. But now that they make a mistake, and then it seems like they're just pushing it back onto the community. And I think the community should be really resisting this. They shouldn't really be a community recovery team. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, have we got 100 million or 170 million or whatever assets are to put back in the chain? No, we don't have that. I don't have that. Nobody's prepared to give it. There is no real recovery plan in my eyes that isn't going to basically screw something over. All I can see here is delay tactics, trying to delay it, to make it, drag it on as long as possible, and hopefully people forget about it, because that's the tactic that they've used in the past. That is the standard tactic of Harmony. We will just ignore it, and then it will just go away, and some other person will start shilling us, and everybody will forget, and we'll just carry on. But there hasn't been anything as big as this before, so I don't know, but I don't think the community should be supporting Harmony. They should be resisting them, saying, look, you made this mistake. You need to come up with a plan, not us, because that's what's going to happen. What happens if this recovery team, and then you come up with a plan that fails? Who's going to get the blame then? Are we going to, then the blame shifted? It's shifting the blame and dragging this out to try and make people forget. But I don't think repegging is going to happen. And yeah, it's a shame, but that's the reality. That's the truth. I don't think Harmony will die, but this is just to try and make people forget. Because after a year or so, things will, other people will be involved, and other people will shill it, and new investors who weren't affected will buy coins, and that's the plan. But what's that those assets, they're gone and they're not coming back. That's the reality.
Yeah, well, hey everybody. I love you all. It's sad to hear some of these, but it's definitely expected. We're building on Harmony 2. I think a lot of us hoped for something to be different, and it wasn't, obviously. We already know Steven is the centralized decision maker, essentially, and he's not going anywhere. We were just kind of hoping to see a change. I'm actually really amazed at the people who can say so much but nothing at all. I don't know how they do that. It's really remarkable. But I really need to figure that out. It's actually truly genius. It was like some alternate reality where the ecosystem isn't in crisis, people and projects leaving on a daily basis, and softball questions were asked, non-answers were answered, no apologies. He was asked what could he have improved over the last few months.
So if you're still with us, I'm just going to turn down the player for the background here. So it's still playing in the background, but very quietly. But basically, right now, the community is essentially saying everything that I wanted to say anyway. I mirror the sentiment that is being put forward. I think there's a lot of constructive things being said in this space, and I would suggest you all go and check it out on Twitter if some of you guys want the link to that. I can provide it. But ultimately, the sentiment is the same with pretty much every single person. And it's obvious to me that nothing is going to change on Harmony 1 as long as Steven continues to whitewash everything that is happening. I'm going to go ahead and leave this space now so I can talk. We're going to close that down. So yeah, essentially, it's exactly as we said it would be when we started the space, when we started the stream rather, that it was all going to be a great big nothing burger, and a lot of things that were going to be said, but left unsaid. There is, obviously a lot of questions that were put to Steven and the team that were ignored. There were a lot of questions that were, Priest's question to begin with was completely skirted over in the first place. The question that they said he asked was not the question that he asked. So, completely removing his words the way that they did was wrong. I am now in the Crypto Lamb Twitch Discord in the voice channel. So if you're watching the stream right now and you want to come and join in the discussion, just join Discord and then jump into the live on air voice channel. But essentially, we have seen absolutely nothing from the team. Questions were spoken about. They spoke about the RTC or RPC rather, and essentially that was not what people were asking on the forums. There were certain questions that were put forward, very well constructed, thought out questions that were put forward, but completely ignored, which is really, really disheartening to see in general. And I'm curious to know if anybody has any different opinions to add on this, although I suspect probably not. I think that most people are within the same sort of mindset as me and most people. Let me just try and crop this the best I can. Yeah, so I think most people are within the same opinion, in the sense that a lot of things were said, a lot of words were used, a lot of buzzwords were utilized, but nothing substantial was provided. Probably Priest's question was skirted over entirely. It was just a complete embarrassment, to be perfectly honest with you. And it shows that there's a lot of people that have lost money, and that they're not going to see that money return anytime soon. And that there doesn't seem to be a clear plan to what's going to happen next. There is no clear plan for a recovery. There is no clear plan in general. I am a little bit at a loss for words, to be honest with you, because you kind of expect more from the core team. You expect a little bit more, from these people to do the right thing. I don't like my picture being so big up here. Let's reduce the size of that, and we'll put Twitter back up on the page. But I think that ultimately, people want to see a resolution. People want to see that, Harmony is going in a certain direction. People want to see that people just want to see things going in the right direction, and we're not seeing that. And now people are furious. And I think that ultimately people are going to start, moving away from Harmony. I think now we're going to see a plethora of projects moving away to other chains. It's not good. It really isn't good at all. You have the Harmony 1 recovery, or Harmony 1 recovery page that's been set up, which is a Google form, to basically show. Yeah, so want to get better about sniffing out bullshit? Press for specifics. When Harmony Protocol and Stephen C say we have all the top tech and best foundations for gaming DeFi, ask what they mean. Even if it was true, it isn't. They don't know how to communicate or market it. This is true. There's just so much shit going on. I need to sort my lighting out. It's a bit random. So, there's just... It's sad. It's very sad. When you have all of these questions. Let's take a look at some of these questions that were actually put forward. Let me try and find the forum link. Bear with. So as soon as I find the forum link, we'll take a look at some of the questions that were asked. And we will see if some of those were actually... no, I can't find it. Harmony... Is it on there? Connect Community Forum. AMA with Stephen Stee. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to be said on this forum afterwards. So I really, really wanted to see JCR1's questions answered. So the first question that he asked was, if you plan to retain absolute control over decisions, will you also become the face of Harmony again and provide your vision to the community like traditional CEO who answers to stakeholders and board of directors? If so, what is that vision? Steer the ship privately, publicly, clear, concise vision, and so on. That wasn't answered. What is your plan for talent management within this core team? That wasn't answered. Is there a plan to restructure the core team's chain of supervision and project assignments in order to use your talent and extension to be a good steward of most valuable resource and time in the most efficient way possible? That wasn't answered. What is the plan to entice projects to come and build on Harmony? That was kind of answered in the sense, we have a great gamification platform, etc., etc. But it also wasn't answered at the same time. It's like answering without answering. What's the plan to entice projects to come and build on Harmony in order to replace the many that have left? Wasn't answered. What is the plan to for Harmony Foundation to generate revenue outside the token price action SDKs, bridges, wallets? Wasn't answered. How will Harmony support the native projects that have built here, Fuzzfire, When Lambo, Sonic Swap, etc.? Wasn't answered. What is the dominant buying motive to build on Harmony? Wasn't answered. And what is the plan to get the ENG team back on track with a roadmap to fix persistent issues on the chain? Wasn't really answered again. I mean, you could arguably say that the RPC thing was part of that. Will you also dedicate some of your time to R&D on the chain? Wasn't answered. So quite a lot of people had questions that were practically similar to that. Some people were wanting it to focus on the hack. How will they find 100 million? How will they fix the DPEG? And so on. That seems to be something that is skirted over quite a lot. Again, wasn't answered. Yeah, so, I mean, this is the thing. This is what everybody's saying in this Twitter space right now, is that there were a lot of questions that we have that just were not answered. Nobody's joining me in the Discord right now, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. As Juice just said, we're all unified against this one idea. This community is dying. It's a very unfortunate thing. I think what I'll do is end the stream here. I urge you all to head over to Twitter and check out the space there, and join in with that. I think that is the best thing to do. And put your opinion across in there. We will be back tomorrow with a show, and that show is going to be absolutely awesome. We're going to give away $100 worth of BTC on that show, so make sure you tune in for that. Thanks for joining us here this evening on this complete shit show of an AMA with Stephen Stee. The community are furious, Stephen. They're absolutely furious. If anybody watches this or clips this, the community is furious with you because you didn't answer, certain questions that were put forward. You said that you were going to answer questions and you didn't. You said a lot of words, but you never answered any questions. Not the questions that were asked, at least. You answered certain questions about the RPC, which is great, but then you said a lot of things without saying a lot of things, and the community is absolutely furious with you. If you're going to take it seriously and start engaging with the community and start speaking with the community, then that's what you need to actually start doing, because you're not doing that. So I'm sorry, Stephen, but until you start actually engaging with the community and answering some of these tough questions properly, the community are not going to side with you. People want to see the chain recover, and a lot of people have had a lot of good ideas on how to do that, but you are ignoring them. You're ignoring the questions that people want to have answered, and you're throwing a veil over it as if you are. You're not. Take some responsibility for your project. That's all I have to say on the matter. Catch you tomorrow, guys, at 14:30 UTC. come and speak to us and join in the AMA. We're not going to be covering this tomorrow. We're going to be dedicating this time and space for the project that is here with us tomorrow, and it would do them an injustice to talk about this complete farce that has happened today. So much love and respect to everybody. Take care and have a great evening, and see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Always wants just like you know. I always wants just like you. I always wants just like you.
Let's go. Always wants just like you know. I always wants just like you. I always wants just like you.